Okay, on the last video, I showed you I was taking the transmission out of my car. I'm going to be putting it back together here pretty soon. But in watching the video, I had problems with my lighting, and there's a reason for that. I was using my phone that I use all the time, and it was really acting up on me. It will not record very long, 10 minutes maybe max. Shuts off, overheats, I don't know. Not enough storage for it. So in doing so, I went and got an old digital camera and hooked it up and recorded that way. Well, between the digital camera and this phone, my video really wasn't very good. I've already heard that from one subscriber. They noticed it. I noticed it too when I watched it. It was dark in spots and stuff. Trying to take care of that. I'm trying to decide if I should buy an action camera, especially since I've been recording car shows and posting them. Thought it might be on the positive side, but there's so many choices, and some of them are like $400. Come on, man, $400 record video, which I'm not that popular yet, but I'm working on it. I'll see if I can't come up with another solution so my recordings are a lot better. But until then, enjoy this video of me putting this car back together. All right, I'm going to start putting this back together. I've already started, actually. My throwout bearing won't be here until this afternoon, so this is not going to get done today. But as you can see, I put my pilot bearing in. Yes, I went and bought a new one and replaced it. I put my pressure plate and clutch in. I got that lined up right now. See right here. That's lined up. So I've got to tighten the bolts up. And the bolts are supposed to be torqued to 25 foot-pounds. And when you're tightening them, you'll crisscross, go across just like you would lug nuts on a car tire. I'm going to do 5 pounds my first initial one. And then I'm going to go 15 pounds on my next one. And then I'm just going to go right to 25 pounds on my third one. What we do is we set our torque wrench. There's 5 pounds. Like I say, we're just going to crisscross. There it is. There it is. Now we'll go to 15. And then we'll go to 25. Okay, now we'll just go around and make sure. There we are, set. Okay, now I'm gonna just clean up around these dowel pins. Since this one was sticking, kind of clean that up a little bit so that the bell housing will go on a little better. Sure, we're gonna get out of the way so we don't hit anything. We'll put that bell housing on there. got those started. Ratchet. We'll get that over here. Not sure why that one was being so stubborn. There we go. Okay, no housing stuff. Next, I'm gonna put my inspection plate on. And this is just held in with 3 bolts. There's one right back here. There's one on each side. There you go. I ended up ordering a new throwout bearing. This is the old one. Had that groove all the way around it. But I want you to listen to this thing. I think this might have been some of my problem. That thing wobbles all over the place. Went and ordered a different one, different manufacturer. That don't wobble at all. That is solid, solid, solid. So I'm thinking, here was my noise. Again, the new one. Can't get it to do anything. So I'm glad I did replace that after all. That throwout bearing I just showed you, I want to tell you a little story. I went to my local auto parts store, and we have a couple here in my little town. I walked in and told the guy I needed a throwout bearing, and I had the part number. And he said, well, what's it go in? And I said, it's a 72 Firebird. And he's punching in his computer. And he goes, what size motor? I said, a 455. And he said, okay. He said, and he punches in the part number that I gave him. He says, well, there's 2 of them. I said, well, I don't want the cheap one. I want the other one. I want the more expensive one. And he said, well, that's like $18 more. And I said, yeah, that's fine. I want the higher one. And he said, so you need a throwout bearing for your Firebird? I said, yeah. And he goes, is that a manual? Seriously? Throwout bearing? And I just chuckled. I said, Yeah, it's a manual. He goes, yeah, we got that in stock. I said, I know. I looked it up before I came in here. And he goes, okay. So he goes to the back there for a little bit. He comes back and goes, well, I can't find it. And he puts it back in his computer again, makes sure it's the right number and everything. And he goes back there again. And he says, well, it says we have one, but we don't have one in stock. And this is like 9 o'clock in the morning. And I said, well, when can you have one here? He said, 12:15. I said, okay. I said, I'll be back at 12:15. Well, I went back in at 1:30. And he seen me come in the door, and he's like, go and get it right now. And he went walking to the back. And he's gone for a little bit, and he comes back and goes, they didn't send one. I go, what? Didn't you order it? And he goes, yeah. And he's back in his computer again. And he's like, that don't make any sense. Let me go back and look again. And he comes back with another guy from the back room. And the other guy's looking at the computer and goes, well, we have one in stock. So they didn't send one because we have one. And the guy says, no, I've looked. We don't have any. And the other guy goes around the corner and he goes, well, what the hell is this? And he had the bearing I wanted. And I told that guy, I said, at 9 o'clock this morning, you could have gave me that bearing. I could have had my car back together today. Now we're looking at 1:30, 2 o'clock, and I have things I have to take care of this afternoon, and I have to work the next 2 days. So now I can't even get my car back together for a few days. He goes, oh, I'm sorry. He goes, man, I didn't see it back there. And those are the examples of what I run into at our local auto parts store. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're throwout bearings in automatic transmissions. Hell, I don't know. But I thought you might find that humorous. Okay, I got my throwout bearing in place and everything else up there. I'm going to try to put this transmission back up there now. Hopefully this will go really simple. Okay, the transmission's up there. I'm removing the chains that held it because it's not all the way pushed in yet. And I need to get this stuff out of my way so I can get my hands around this transmission and wiggle it into place. Okay, I gotta be honest with you. That transmission gave me a fight. It took me like 10 minutes before I could wiggle that into place. It finally went. So now I'm gonna put the bolts in, hold the transmission to the bell housing. Okay, the bolts are tight. Man, that light's bright. I'll go ahead and get this transmission jack out of my way. I don't know how many times I hit my head on these damn rails underneath here. Okay, jack's out of the way. Now I'm going to hook up my speedometer cable. Mainly because I can get to it pretty easy. Now we're going to get this 4-speed button back up there. get this tightened up. All right, I got the shifter tightened up. Now I'm going to hook up my linkage. Okay, next I'm going to hook up my reverse lockout bar. Like that, new cotter pin. Okay, things are going back together pretty smooth right now. Knock on wood, because something's going to go wrong. I'm going to go ahead and get this cross member in now. Alright, I'll get these bolts put in, I'll get these bolts put in, then I'll take all the weight off, and I'll put these two bolts in. Okay, I have the bolts in, cross members in, so now I'm going to tighten these down. I've got them pretty well down there now, but... That one's tight. Now I'll get the bolts and put the center ones in. Okay, I've got these in. I just need to tighten them all down. Alright, that takes care of that. Next, I think I'm going to put the starter in. Okay, I'm going to put this starter in. I use this jack to support my starter. Just makes it easier for me so I can get these wires attached by taking the weight off from it. Okay, now we're just going to put the wires back on. Okay, I'm going to put this up where it belongs. There's two 9/16 bolts I go up to hold it. I do have spacers, so I have to put my spacers in. I'm not going to bore you with me putting these 2 bolts in. I want to get them in, and I'll be back. Okay, the starter's in. So now we're going to grab the drive shaft and put it in. There we go. Basically, started in those splines up there. Really, that's all you gotta do. Okay, once you have it pushed into the transmission, you're gonna bring it up here. Make sure your caps are all the way on. These caps, make sure they didn't come loose. And I have this tranny in neutral, so it makes it easy for me to turn the drive shaft. And all I'm gonna do is bring it right back. Make sure it's seated in place. It is, it's right in. I'll take my U-joints. We're gonna get those started. The other side in. And we're just going to tighten these down. Okay, the drive shaft's tight. Now we move on to the emergency brake cable. The spring needs to go in a little hole back here, just like that. This, as this piece, the cable slides in this center hole and goes to the side, like this. Nothing crazy. It also brings the other side over. Does the same thing. Just like that. I'm going to set that up there for the moment. Now this part, this is what actually goes over the cable. Like that. This comes through here. Then your 2 nuts go on there. Nice and snug. And your locking nut, there's 2 of them go on, one locks the other. There, he breaks in. Okay, that's everything under the car. Done with that. So I'm gonna drop the car, hook the battery up, and hopefully everything's good. If not, I'll have to probably lift this car up and down several times until I get this clutch adjusted. But I think I got my noise figured out, taken care of. If you've enjoyed my video, please like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Later.